to find the tenant and tried to convince him to swap rooms. The guy firmly refused. Dongjin didn't give up. He rented the room below and frequently visited the guy's convenience store to please him. He also helped him whenever needed and gave him gifts for moving. Finally, Dongjin offered to cover 3 months of rent and moving costs and successfully swapped the room. Next, he sneaked into the opposite apartment building and confirmed which room Mi Jong lived in through mailboxes. Eun Sil noticed him acting suspiciously and asked who he was looking for. Dongjin lied, saying he was going to the 3rd floor. Unfortunately, the 3rd floor was a bikini waxing salon. Under her strange look, he had no choice but to walk in. Eun Sil visited Mi Jong, and they had a lively dinner. Mi Jong excitedly talked about a small Austrian town she read about while translating. She dreamed of walking freely in the streets like a normal person one day. Meanwhile, Dongjin got a call from the detective. He found the suspect who smashed his car. Lee owned a small paper cup factory and got a loan approved. But a change in the bank policy wouldn't allow him to get the loan, so he went bankrupt. He later found out that the loan system was developed by Dongjin's company. So, he chose Dongjin as his target for revenge. Before leaving the station, Dongjin asked which department handled streetlight repairs. The night he walked Mi Jong home, he noticed a flickering light at the alley entrance. When Dongjin got home, he was attacked. The attacker was Lee, the suspect the police were chasing. Dongjin didn't fight back and even stopped the convenience store guy from calling the police. Lee accused Dongjin of ruining his factory and leaving his workers homeless. After he calmed down, Dongjin took him out for a meal. He explained that his job was just calculating data for programs, but never thought it could hurt innocent people. Lee knew everything wasn't his fault, but whenever he thought about being separated from his wife and kids, he even had bad thoughts. He held on because of his hatred for Dongjin. To help Lee, Dongjin asked the chairman to give him a job. In this days and age, most people only care about themselves. But Dongjin was different and even tried to rescue others, which left a deep impression on the chairman. Kim got a report. A victim's home was wrecked, but there were no signs of forced entry. That meant the attacker was someone she knew. Kim advised the woman to apply for a protection order and wear a smart watch. If she pressed the button in danger, a appointed officer would rush to her. After taking the victim safely to her parents' house, Kim returned to the station and ran into Dongjin. They planned to eat together, but Kim suddenly got an urgent call. He rushed to the victim, but he was too late. The woman had lost too much blood and was just taken to the hospital. Kim felt guilty for failing to protect her. Late at night, Mi Jong stepped outside and was surprised to see the streetlights fixed. As usual, she went to the alley to feed stray cats. She muttered again that she really was like a witch. Dongjin hid nearby and heard her words. He became more determined to break her curse. The next day, Dongjin returned to his hometown. He found an old friend and asked her to gather others. He had something important to say. Then, he met the village chief and got the key to his old house. The chief suggested selling it if he wouldn't return often. Recently, the area where Mi Jong lived was being turned into a resort, which raised property prices. Dongjin suddenly thought of something and asked if any strange events had happened recently. The chief said no accidents had happened since Mi Jong left. The laundromat owner's son getting hit by a wild boar was the last one. That night, Dongjin met the victim to learn more. The man had felt bad for Mi Jong losing her father. He brought her some bread but was too shy to confess. He stayed for about 12 minutes. As soon as he stepped outside, a wild boar attacked him, leaving him badly injured. At night, friends gathered as planned. Dongjin gave each of them a book Mi Jong had translated. They were surprised but still called Mi Jong a witch. Dongjin told them he had seen Mi Jong recently. She was suffering because of the curse, and even staying alive was hard for her. He asked his friends to help gather data on all accidents around Mi Jong. He wanted to save this miserable girl. Daeun was now a high school teacher. She easily took Dongjin to the school's records room. He took pictures of all the victim files, organized the needed data, and created a chart overnight. He found that during Mi Jong's time at school, accidents and deaths increased sharply. Most incidents happened around her. To find more clues, Dongjin decided to visit the injured students. The first was a boy who cut Mi Jong's rope and fell into the manhole. He liked her, but never confessed. The second was a boy who gave her candy and got into a car accident. He spent about 10 minutes with her and also liked her. Dongjin continued visiting others and found that all accidents happened within 10 meters of Mi Jong. After analyzing the data, he found a common pattern and established a hypothesis. 1. Being in the same space with her is dangerous. 2. Holding a conversation with her is dangerous. 3. Being acquainted with her is dangerous. 4. Confessing your feelings to her is dangerous. 5. Breaking all of these laws will result in death. However, the precondition for all these hypotheses was that one must have feelings for Mi Jong. That night, Da Yun visited. She was shocked by Dongjin's findings. Feeling guilty, she admitted that she spread the witch rumor out of jealousy when she found out her crush liked Mi Jong. She asked Dongjin to pass on her apology, but Dongjin thought she should do it herself. Da Yun then mentioned that Mi Jong got into Korea University as a direct junior to the senior. She suggested Dongjin look into her college life. The next morning, Dongjin rushed to Seoul to meet the senior, but he learned nothing useful, only that Mi Jong dropped out soon after enrolling. Dongjin then visited a movie ticket checker who once confessed to Mi Jong. The man often saw her watching movies late at night. Attracted by her beauty, he confessed, but only ended up getting hurt. Dongjin was surprised the man didn't die, but soon he noticed the man's name tag and realized Mi Jong never knew his real name. Back home, Dongjin changed the third hypothesis to, if she knows your name, it's dangerous. He measured the distance to Mi Jong's house, about 10 meters. Just then, the tape measure malfunctioned and couldn't retract, while Mi Jong opened the window. He quickly pulled the tape back by hand. Mi Jong then stepped onto her balcony, enjoying the snowfall. As she slowly walked toward the edge, there was a sudden noise. Dongjin got cut by the tape measure. He confirmed that being within 10 meters radius of her was dangerous. To gather more data, Dongjin met Mi Jong's only friend, Yun Sil. She immediately recognized Dongjin as the strange man from the apartment and thought he was stalking Mi Jong. Dongjin quickly showed his investigation data, saying he wanted to help Mi Jong live a normal life. After reading his detailed analysis, Yun Sil slowly lowered her guard and started talking about Mi Jong's past. She first met Mi Jong during the student council recruitment. Mi Jong always wore black and stayed in the corner, but she still caught the attention of many boys. One day, she ran into the senior in the hallway. He got nervous as soon as he saw her and instinctively stepped back. His girlfriend thought they were once a couple and stormed off in anger. Later, a boy kept following Mi Jong, insisting on watching a movie with her. Even when she refused, he didn't give up and tried confessing, but he fell down the stairs. The witch's curse came true again. The senior's girlfriend was still angry because of Mi Jong. The senior had to publicly reveal that anyone who dated or liked Mi Jong would get hurt or die. The witch rumor soon spread throughout the university. During the final exams, Mi Jong finished early and left. The professor kept her under the excuse of giving guidance and wrote, "I love you" on the paper. Shocked, Mi Jong ran away. Afraid something might happen to the professor, she called an ambulance in advance, but they thought it was a prank. At that moment, Yun Sil stopped her and invited her to have a meal, but Mi Jong was eager to leave. Yun Sil noticed the professor sitting by the window, watching Mi Jong. Then he fell from the building. This incident confirmed the rumors that Mi Jong was a witch. She couldn't take it anymore and dropped out. Yun Sil spent a long time searching for Mi Jong and finally found her in a remote village that was about to be demolished. The place was eerie, but she felt at ease. Yun Sil felt sorry for her and asked why she dropped out. Mi Jong cut her off, saying she didn't need pity. Yun Sil explained that it wasn't pity, and she just cared about her. Not wanting to bother Mi Jong, she left her phone number and walked away. A few months later, Mi Jong called, saying her house had been robbed. Yun Sil scolded her for living in such a dangerous place. Mi Jong said it was the only way she could live alone. Yun Sil felt sorry for the poor girl and decided to protect her like a sister. The next day, they rented a house with a yard. As Yun Sil bargained with the landlord, Mi Jong smiled for the first time in a while. They became best friends. Dongjin and Eun-sil measured the distance between the professor and Mi Jong. At the time of the incident, they stayed about 10 meters apart, talked, confessed, and knew each other's identity. This matched all hypotheses he established. Eun-sil then introduced two boys who had incidents after being near Mi Jong. Both were in the same space as her, and about 10 minutes later, accidents happened. Dongjin confirmed his laws were correct. To avoid errors in the